It did. It did. I said it like for us. Yes, yeah, I know Steve got on YouTube.
First responders know all too often that providing emergency medical care to stop bleeding does save lives. But saving lives goes beyond just stopping the bleeding.
Going to my first major trauma event, it was overwhelming. There is blood everywhere. You're trying to pull somebody's shirt off, but it's slipping out of your hand.
By donating 1 pint of blood, 3 lives can be saved.
This is why we do the Sirens for Life campaign. Please consider donating today.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. My name is Christy McPhee, and I am the Community Development Manager for Canadian Blood Services here in Winnipeg. I'm so grateful to be here today with our first responders as we launch our annual Sirens for Life campaign. First responders in Manitoba are continuing to answer the call to help save more lives as part of this year's Sirens for Life campaign. Members from the Winnipeg Police Service, the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service, Stars Air Ambulance, and RCMP will participate in a friendly challenge to see which agency can bring in the most donations. First responders know there are lots of reasons to donate blood or plasma. Across Canada, Canadian Blood Services must collect 16,000 units of blood and 3,000 units of plasma every week. Over 7,000 new donors are required every month across the country to keep Canada's lifeline strong. There are over 17.5 million eligible donors in Canada, but less than 2% will actually donate blood or plasma. A small group of regular donors is meeting the needs of our entire country, and this is unsustainable. A donation of any type doesn't just make the difference, it will make all the difference. We would like to thank all first responders for their service and for taking time to partner with Canadian Blood Services in the Sirens for Life Challenge. This challenge will help us to fill the over 4,500 open appointments we have in Winnipeg this summer. I'm so thankful to George Labossiere, Inspector, Community Relations from Winnipeg Police Services, and Chief Christian Schmidt, Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Services, who are here to say a few words on behalf of the campaign today. Blood donors save lives, and today we will also hear from Jamie McClintock. She is a blood product recipient, as well as a paramedic, and she's here today to tell her story. So with that, I'm going to hand the podium over to Inspector George Labossiere to begin.
Well, thank you, Christy. Good afternoon to all who are here in attendance today. Welcome to the Sirens for Life kickoff. What an exciting day this is, truly. I speak on behalf of Police Chief Danny Smythe when I say that the police service, all of the members, in fact, are very excited to be part of this campaign. Our work as police officers exposes us to life's most challenging events or incidents, many of which do in fact include the need for immediate emergency services and care. As police, we do what we can to help get police to hospitals, but all those efforts mean very little if upon arrival they find that there is no blood available to provide the service that is required. As Winnipeggers and as friendly Manitobans, we have often been reminded that we are amongst the most generous people in the nation. We donate our time, talents, and money at rates that far exceed the national average, and it is our hope here today that this mindset will carry over into the gift of giving blood. To save a life, that's what giving blood represents. After all, what can be greater than that? As donors, we don't necessarily get to know where the blood actually goes, where our donations contribute into the lives of people. It could be used to help a complete stranger, and that's all good. But it could just as easily be given in a time of need for a neighbor, a friend, a colleague, or in some cases, a direct family member. And we need to keep that in mind when we look to address the need that is out there. You know, oftentimes we don't recognize the value of something until we need it or we can relate to that need. And that's why it's so very important to hear stories of people who have been recipients. And I look forward to hearing Jamie's story in a few moments' time to hear what it meant to her and to what it means to thousands of people across Manitoba. The competition between the Winnipeg Police Service, police, fire, ambulance, it's one that each department truly wants to win. And though I'm extremely confident the Winnipeg Police are going to pull ahead in this one, and it's not really about a competition, but it is. Really, the winners are the community members, everybody in our community. We all stand to win by being part of this competition, because it's really far more than that. It's about life. And with that being said, I need to take a quick moment to thank the Canadian Blood Services for the amazing work they do day in and day out. And I want to reach back now to the public and encourage you to step forward, share the gift of life that's in you to give. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. And our next speaker will be Chief Christian Schmidt from Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Services.
Good afternoon. I'm Christian Schmidt, Chief of the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service. Our department is very proud to once again participate in the Sirens for Life campaign. Every day, our members save lives, whether it's on a fire truck, on an ambulance, or by rolling up their sleeves to donate blood. On a daily basis, the WFPS members assist patients who will be ultimately requiring a blood transfusion. Most of them have family members or friends who have received blood products, and some of our members have even been on the receiving end. Just last week, I learned of our very own Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service paramedic Jamie McClintock's story. You're going to hear from Jamie in a few moments. Stories like Jamie's really drive home the reasons that we participate in the Sirens for Life campaign and the reasons we encourage our members to make regular donations year-round. It's just one more way our members are helping residents of our community and Canadian Blood Services. This summer, I encourage all Manitobans to join us in saving lives by donating blood. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. We're very excited to call up Jamie McClintock, who's here today to share her story. Thank you, Jamie.
Try and do this without crying. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie McClintock. I've been a paramedic with the City of Winnipeg for 9 years. I'm here today to share my personal story and highlight the importance of blood donation. In 2009, I was a young, healthy athlete playing college-level hockey in the US. I never anticipated I would need blood or be personally affected and need a blood transfusion. I was enjoying a weekend at my cottage when I unexpectedly lost consciousness while boarding with my family and friends. I was rushed via ambulance to Ashram Hospital in critical condition, and I was intubated shortly after my arrival. I was stabilized as best as their resources would allow and immediately transferred out to Health Science Center. Upon my arrival at HSC, I was sent for an urgent CT scan, which identified 3 separate brain bleeds and a hemorrhagic stroke. My intracranial pressure was so critical that the option of a temporary shunt was discussed. As the physicians worked to determine the best interventions required, my blood work came back and showed some startling findings. My platelets were dangerously low and showed I had next to no clotting factors. If my labs hadn't come back when they did, I would have prematurely received the shunt, which have thus resulted in a catastrophic increase in my hemorrhagic bleed and therefore possibly the end of my life. Further labs revealed that my white blood cells were alarmingly high and prompted additional investigations. It was at this.
Would you like to learn about a few things I can help?
It was at this time that my family was notified that their healthy 21-year-old athlete was now a 21-year-old cancer patient. I was unaware at this point as I was in a medically induced coma. I was diagnosed with 2 different types of leukemia, and the combination of the 2 forms, I was told, is incredibly rare. Only 1 of 500 documented cases in the entire world. While I was in the medically induced coma, I was receiving 24-hour-a-day chemotherapy treatments for 38 days. During this time, I was dependent on daily blood transfusions and blood products to keep me alive. A subsequent hemorrhagic stroke occurred while I was in this coma. It was a side effect of one of the chemo treatments. After 38 days, I was brought out of my coma and informed of my cancer diagnosis in a hospital room full of physicians and my family. I was told that my response was, okay, I can't change it now. Just tell me what I need to do to get better. I was a patient at HSC for a total of 55 days, divided between the intensive care unit and an inpatient on the cancer ward. I was grateful to have received a total of approximately 75 units of blood, as well as numerous blood products such as plasma and platelets. I was able to make a full recovery and happy to report that I will be 14 years cancer-free this September. I wish I had the opportunity to thank each and every donor who played a crucial part in my recovery and the reason that I'm still here today. I advocate not only as a personal survivor, but as a paramedic who sees firsthand the importance of blood donations every day. I thank you all for allowing me to share my story, and I encourage you all to donate not only now, but all year long, as you never know when you or a loved one will be personally affected and in need of blood or blood products. I'd also like to thank Canadian Blood Services for being a crucial part of saving my life 14 years ago and continuing to save the lives of so many.
Thank you so much, Jamie. That was so touching, and we're so honored to have you here today. We're going to turn everyone in this direction, and maybe we'll just take a look at a video that the WPS created for us.
First responders know all too often that providing emergency medical care to stop bleeding does save lives. But saving lives goes beyond just stopping the bleeding.
Going to my first major trauma event, it was overwhelming. There is blood everywhere. You're trying to pull somebody's shirt off, but it's slipping out of your hand.
By donating 1 pint of blood, 3 lives can be saved.
This is why we do the Sirens for Life campaign. Please consider donating today.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody today for coming. We're so appreciative. I'm overwhelmed, honestly, by the